This is a chainsaw. There are many like it, but this one is mine. A moving chainsaw kit. This little trolley is massively useful for any work you're doing involving chainsaws. On board, we've got my major sword, my 250. That'll cut down anything. I also got a electric battery one, 140C. That's for delicate filleting jobs. The two of them work together really well for the different parts of a job. Big trees, big stumps, big branches, little things. The electric thing you can hold by hand, one hand, and wave it around like a little sword. Very useful. Got to keep it charged up, but the battery lasts a fair while. Also on board, we've got the Petrol for the big one. It's 50-to-1 mix in there, and some chain and bar oil. I just keep that bottle, old bottle, topped up from a big bottle, because you go through a lot of bar oil. Also on board is the chain tightener for the Petrol chainsaw, helmet and ear and face protection, which you need. Had a few incidents, and gloves. So and a rag underneath there too. Rag's very useful actually. So this little thing, we can go anywhere. Particularly if you're going a distance, you don't want to have to go back and forth, running out of things like oil and that. It's no good. This little trolley, weight in gold. Mixing two-stroke is important to get it right. Too much oil and it'll dirty up your engine and make it hard to start, and it's not good. And not enough oil will obviously be really bad for your engine. So I found this bottle some time ago, a juice bottle. It's 1.5 litres. A 50-to-1 mix is 30 mils. So I've got this medicine thing, and I just measure 30 mils, put it in there first, top it up with 91 octane, and that's it. Makes it nice and straight and 100% the same every time. Then I just pop it in this jar and screw the lid on. What that's for is to keep the dirt that'll accumulate in it. If you just leave the little measuring cylinder on your desk bench somewhere, it'll fill up with dirt and that'll get into your engine. This way it's kept nice and clean for the next time. Easy. Starting a chainsaw is always fun, particularly a powerful one like this. It's going to have very strong compression, so you got to have some tricks to get it going. One is to read the manual, and not only that, memorize the manual about the starting procedure. This one's got a 4-step choke. 4-step choke, and it goes right down to the bottom at the beginning. This thing here is supposed to be able to get your foot in there, because if you don't have it firmly down, as you pull it, it'll try to come up completely at you and wrap you on the knuckles. It's bad for the engine. When it's cold, you need a helper. This is a helper. Put the stick there, then you can just stand on that and hold it down. Okay, for you big strong guys, you don't need to do that probably, but just makes it easier and allows you to get a good yank on that pulley. The first stage of starting is you only pull it a few times till you hear it burp. No more. or you'll flood it completely. Then you put it onto ordinary choke. Once you get it started on choke, it will overspeed and the blade will start turning. So you've got to be somewhat careful for that. When you pull the trigger handle and it drops back to normal idle, the blade will stop. So watch the animal's kids when you're starting it in the choke position, because that blade will take off. What's the difference between the petrol saw and the electric saw? Well, fundamentally you could say that the electric saw is a sword, a rapier if you like, and the petrol saw is a battle axe. If you've got big things to do over a long period of time, you got to have the petrol powered quality saw with heaps of grunt. It'll just go through anything. We're choosing trees at the moment. There's two here right in the middle of the screen, going up, one skinny one, one fatter one. We'll go for these because they're both leaning outwards and they'll be straightforward to take out and good access here. And then the falling zone is out here where it's a flat area, be easy to section them and get them by the tractors and that. There are many videos about cutting down trees, so I urge you to watch those. But this is the logic again, that cut number one is about a third of the way into the tree, and then cut number two is a diagonal one to meet cut number one, and you pull out that wedge. And you go around the other side, go up a bit, maybe 50 mil, 75 mil, 2 or 3 inches, and cut in. That difference upwards, up and down, is called the hinge. So the tree will then fall towards the segment that comes out. Now I just urge everybody who's going to try this that you can't correct a natural lean by doing this. This is only suitable to follow the lean of the tree, unless you really know what you're doing. So first of all, absolutely know which way the tree is going to fall based on its straightness or otherwise. So now we're going to go and prepare the area around the trees. Okay, I topped up the oil, topped up the 2-stroke fuel, and just checked the bar tension. Everything's good now, all good to go. And my helper has got helmet with air protection, visor, etc. I'm going to start it. You notice I've got the bit of wood technique, which you only need if the engine's very old, not old, cold, because it can take a bit. So we're on the maximum choke setting, so away you go. Okay, change to the other choke. Okay, so we're ready to take this skinny little tree down here. It's got a big lean on it, so it's definitely coming out here. So I'm going in there to be the tree fella's wingman. Often the tree fella can be totally focused on the cut. Having a wingman's quite handy. I know it's not common, but somebody to tap you on the back, which means it's going, get out of the way now, or something's going wrong, get out of the way now. So I'm going to put it on the tripod a bit further away so you can see it fall. And then I'm going in to be the wingman. Diagonal, doesn't like doing that, do it?
I reckon it was something to do with the grain because it's worked fine before.
And it cut through there, no trouble at all.
Yeah, so it's just maybe it was something on that particular grain. I don't know. But I really struggled with it.
Go out there and wave the chainsaw at the camera. Stand up on the log. Okay, it's down. Quite a long tree. for the fireplace. Well, ready for splitting anyway. That'll probably need to be split once. Yeah, split once down here. That'll fit the fireplace. The bigger end might have to split into 4. Will have to be split into 4. Okay, we're going to take out this one as well before we start cutting them up for firewood at some other stage, but that won't feature in this video because it's about chainsaws. So we'll try to keep the chainsawing on this time. Okay, let's go. Pretty straight, this one. It's not always easy.
It's because it ran out of fuel before, so it's having to pull it all the way through.
Okay, we're just getting rid of the dog. Somebody opened the door in the house and let him out. Whilst we can run, he'd just as likely stand still. Let's go back this way.
It's definitely going to go the right way.
Yeah. It's going in the spot. What's the best camera angle? Over here. There's definitely a wide angle view. Maybe I'll go to... Now I'm filming. It's really at a wonk now. It's not hung up on anything.
No, you can hear it cracking.
Cracking. cracking. Step away.
This is a slow motion fall.
Yeah, got it in slow-mo. See the hinge there? It's working.
Of course, if it might have bottomed out on the wedge, so now it's in this state of,
Precarious.
I might need to give it another little tickle.
A tickle, all right?
Yeah, because now that the wedge is closed, it's now resting on the bottom of the wedge.
Yeah.
Another tiny little tickle and it'll go.
Yeah, you just step back though, right? The right time, obviously. How about that for brilliant advice? Fortunately, it was on. I thought for a moment I'd turned it off. Look at that. Tree stump. This is the hinge here. It was hanging on by just that little bit. We're finding that doing the angled cut is quite difficult for some reason. The chainsaws don't like going across the grain. But nerve-wracking. Well done, chainsaw man.
Okay.
How annoying is that?
Right.
Just keeping the roots open to come through with the tractor. Down there where we cut the other one. Okay, there's no mystery in tightening the chain. Simply loosen off these two nuts. And then in here, with that end, is a little hole there, which then brings the blade in and out, which tightens and loosens the chain. You can see this one's loosening it. If I go the other way, it'll tighten it up. You don't want to give it too tight, you want to be able to move it a bit. You certainly wouldn't want to lock it up. Just feel it a bit. Get used to doing this. Pretty easy. And when it's too loose, you'll know all about it because it'll be flapping around. I'm going to leave it there. I'll tighten it a bit more. That's good. And then snap up the nuts again. And recheck that it's okay, which that is. I filled up the 2-stroke petrol and the oil for the chain when I finish, but before I start again, I'll always check them again. Never run out of oil. Not a good thing. That's about it. It's quite easy, really. Don't be nervous of it. It's one of these things that's blindingly obvious once you start doing it. This tool always comes with the chainsaw, And I painted mine orange because it matches the orange chainsaw, because I got heaps of these things for different tools. The battery powered one's got an inbuilt chain tightening thing, which I thought was important at the time. Now I'm equally happy to use the one with just the nuts. But with this one, you just unclick this thing, turn it anti-clockwise a bit to loosen the chain. Could do with a bit of tightening. I hold up this end, which is supposed to be what you do, and then with this rotator here, you just it's got a plus or a minus, plus to make it tighter. That's really tight. In fact, that's perfectly good, and then you tighten it back up again. Almost a bit tight, actually. Knock it back a click. Now it's too loose. That's good. Yeah, that's good. You notice in storage the battery is always half up. Take it out. Push it in one click and it's a safe position. It won't work like that. It's only when you push it fully in that it's ready to go. So there's a safety mechanism. So in storage, put it in one click so it can never activate. Good tool. I'm going to sharpen the chain on the battery powered chainsaw. Absolutely, you must have one of these tools. It's a guide, and you can see it's got these little lines on it with a 30-degree angle. You go one way first, and then one way where you flip the chainsaw around and go the other way. Again, it's quite obvious when you do it. Don't be afraid of using this. This guide also just sets the height that you can go in along here. No problem at all. This is the battery's off. I can't start. You do need, theoretically you could do it without it, but it's much easier if you've got a vise. So the chain can rotate around there, and it's just held in there. So using these guidelines, you'll pick every second tooth, the one that faces you. And you'll see you're going to push it, holding the angle of the line that's shown on here, holding it at that angle so that line runs along that way if you like. So we're just going to push it through there, more or less at that angle, just 3 or 4 times. You'll see as it sharpens, it becomes quite easy to run through. In fact, it's easier to run. Then you rotate the chain a bit more, go to the second one. 2, 3, 4. There's no need to overdo this. The tool will sharpen it, put an edge on it really quickly. And we'll just, haven't quite finished that, then we'll just flip it around. Touching the vise. Then you can do the teeth that are going the other way. Again, using the other angle, just do the same thing. Get that one at the same time. And that's it. This tool is invaluable, makes it easy. Don't be frightened of doing this. Pretty simple. Once you've got in the vise, it all becomes clear. really simple. My big Petrol chainsaw, I spent the money on a Durahard blade chain. I didn't know what I was doing then, but it turned out to be a very good investment because I've had it for 4 years and it's still perfectly sharp. If it did need sharpening, I have to take it to still because I probably needs diamond sharpeners or something to attack that metal. It's well worth the investment, really good. If you're wondering whether your chain's blunt, well, obviously you'll be struggling to cut it. It'll be struggling to cut. But the bigger the chip, the sharper the chain. So if you're just taking out dust, it means your chain is blunt and needs to be sharpened. A bigger chip means the chain is tearing through the wood. Look out for those chip sizes. Again, it'll be quite clear once you see them. Again, this chainsaw is put away, full of oil, but always check it before you start it up. The petrol-powered ones, quite good because when you go through a tank of gas, there's still a little bit of oil left in the lubricating tank. So when you fill up the petrol, you always top up the oil, and that always works out well. You have to be a little bit more careful with these electric ones because you could go through 3 or 4 tanks of oil on one battery charge. So you have to regularly check it. It's most important. I have burnt out a lubricating rubber seal in here because I ran out of oil. That was a mistake. Don't do that. Check the oil all the time before you start, even if you think you've filled it up beforehand. The 2 chainsaws are stored in this box, which just the right size for the 2 of them. There's newspaper in the bottom to catch the oil because they do continue to leak oil a little bit as they sit. Nothing wrong with that. But they're well off the ground and treated like the special creatures that they are. Me and my chainsaws. Fabulous.